we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. That's right.
All right, it's Monday, and there's no Matt Moscona. You're stuck with us, Ron Higgins, Tiger Rag Magazine, tigerrag.com. And my WBRZ guy, introduce yourself.
Yes, Matt Trent, WBRZ. I'm not the Matt that you want, but I'm the Matt that you get today.
This is a great social experiment by Matt Moscona, putting together two guys who've never talked before together. So it's a great deal. But somebody I've talked to plenty in my life, and I'm glad he called in. We want him on this show. I've been wanting him for a long time. The commissioner of the SEC, Greg Sankey. Greg, how are you?
I'm well, Ron. I will confess, Herb told me you'd been after him for a while, so I'll get on Herb to make sure that he doesn't hold you off so well. He's a good stiff arm Heisman pose guy for me.
Well, I was sitting here looking at this is a pretty good percentage for a free throw shooter, 97.2. That's how many percentage of the games you played this year? 69 of 71. Is that correct? Am I right on that? 69?
Yeah, total including championship game. That's right.
That's even probably in August when you were imagining things, you couldn't even imagine that. And you probably look at it now and still wonder how you did it. So how did you do it?
Oh, wow. I'll tell you, I start from the expectation of perfection. So I'm like, doggone, we missed two games. What could we have done to get those in? And it's just kind of the reality of the COVID environment. But if you go back to decision-making time, July, August, and September, I did not have any surety that we would approach that level of success. And it starts with the young people involved, student athletes who stayed committed. And, we weren't perfect from the standpoint of avoiding COVID tests that were positive, but did pretty well. And then the willingness to adjust. So I think when you're disrupting game planning and scheduling on a Friday or a Monday, that's the collaborative approach of coaches and ADs to make it happen. And then having built a plan that could be fully adjusted, we started September 26th. We had 3 weeks of no disruptions. I don't think anyone else achieved that. That's a tribute to the timing of when we started and the buy-in. And then from that point forward, I think we're in kind of a constant cycle of adjustment. We gave ourselves space to do that. And, just a lot of wisdom applied, a lot of adaptation, bringing in medical experts to guide us, kind of setting very clear direction when we had to make changes, say, okay, look, this is going to happen on Friday. We're going to change game dates for you, and people respecting the need to make that decision in this office enough to let it happen and be supportive.
That 10-game schedule was so daunting to start, and then we got in the middle of it, and then obviously things started going off without a hitch. Are you surprised that everybody was able to get games in and play a full schedule as planned?
I'd love to say, no, I was confident the whole time. I knew it was going to happen. But I started with every week was going to be its own adventure, and then literally we moved to every day was an adventure. In fact, we're still experiencing that. Yesterday we had to announce a bowl game not being played, and that hurts because you want to reward people who prepare, who've engaged, who've been dedicated with, one more time to compete, because I think that's at the heart of a competitive spirit is the honor and the desire to actually compete. We went through a lot, and I don't know that there's actually a book to write, but there probably could be a book when you look at, starting out, not having the disruption, but also kind of behind the scenes having to talk people through that first week. So September 25th, what's your departure time? We're going through contact tracing. We had a positive test on a coaching staff, or The next week we had some opt-outs and some tests in a program, talking to a coach at 7 on a Thursday morning about, hey, let's just relax, see what the doctors say. I mean, all of those things took place, and nobody saw that. It wasn't on the front page, but it was part of our daily existence to make it happen. And I want the vaccine to work. I want us to be healthy, because I really am not looking forward to going through all of that for another season.
The funny thing about any kind of college commissioner is that we, even in the media and the public, we see the finished product. We see you headlining everything in front of a microphone, giving the end results. But I know that the time leading up to that is just a huge scramble, especially with everything canceled and trying to fill in games and give every team their due diligence. Can you just pull back the curtain a little bit and give us an inside view of what it was like in your office with you and everybody that works around you when this stuff was happening, a cancellation or a positive test within a program? Can you just peel things back a little bit and give us an inside view?
Well, you go back to March 11th, 12th, 13th, when we were in Nashville and stopping our men's basketball tournament and then everything. And unbeknownst to all of us, that was an education on what was going to continue to play out. So the stress in mid-March was high level. And then following up was, how do we get back to activity? So there's another level of stress. And then you had moments where you tried to figure out what will it look like. And, I look back at some of the statements we made. Like I put on a PowerPoint slide to athletics directors in May. Like, if we began playing in the fall, as much as we plan, we are going to encounter things we cannot imagine. And that was like prophetic, because, there's a hurricane, and then there's another hurricane, a tropical storm, and COVID testing, and, you had 14-day isolation for close contacts, and all of these things you had to work your way through. But Fridays started out, to be very specific, as kind of the point of stress every week, where usually Fridays in football season, half your teams are traveling, half are preparing to host. They're relatively quiet. This year, Fridays were the most stressful and intense. And so literally the first Friday, we've got 7 games lined up. And my message has been, let's do everything we can to play all 7 games, because I think that would be an achievement with all of the unknowns. And so we had a couple, I think it was assistant coaches that we learned on Friday morning were positive. And now we've got a program into contact tracing, which involves local health authorities. That's not up to the conference. It's not up to the football coach. It's not up to the AD or the university president. You're in the public health domain, and you have to work through those processes to determine if substantial part of a coaching staff or one unit or one side of the football is kind of negated, is wiped out, not because of COVID tests, because of contact tracing. And then we had never had to worry about departure times for teams. So that first Friday, our staff's reaching out to find out, what time are you boarding the bus on campus, what time are you wheels up from your local airport, and what time do you land? And we learned, like, for the next 11, 12 weeks, we always had that information in advance. And I think that first Friday, we had a team leaving campus at 2:30, and the visiting team was in great health. The home team had some questions, and it was about 2 o'clock when we got the all clear. And you can imagine, the blood pressure goes up a bit, especially that first week. And that started a cycle where every Friday you'd spend your morning wondering what are the test results going to show for COVID testing, because we have no control over that. That's done by a third-party company that we've engaged in independent labs. And, we made it through the first 3, and then the 4th week, I think we started to have positive tests. That's when we had to hit pause with Florida and Vanderbilt. And rather than Friday being the day, so remember I've said that was a stress point, we learned Monday there were positive tests or roster issues in quarantining and isolation around contact tracing. And so we could project out. So we became quickly adept at saying, well, how many are you going to have? What are the dates when people are released from quarantine or isolation? And we shut down a couple sets of games, and then at the end of that week, maneuvered games on Friday. So we spent probably from midweek in week 4 through Friday just saying over and over, we are going to change your schedule. We are going to change your schedule. And Friday afternoon, I think it was probably about 4 o'clock, we made the announcement of about 6 games being moved. LSU, Florida being moved to December 12th was one of those. That was reality, and I could take up the rest of the afternoon show going week by week through the oddities that occurred. And I'll finish with this. There was an interview I had with Dari Noka, I think it was Dari and Bell on a Saturday, and it was after we had canceled or postponed, actually is the right term, games involving Florida and Vanderbilt and rescheduled. And he said, was this like your most stressful week? And I said, well, last week we had a hurricane and we had to relocate a game from Baton Rouge to Columbia in addition to all the COVID issues. So, things mounted, and every week you'd say, well, it can't be worse in the week ahead than it was in the week behind. There'd be something else out there that would change the dynamics and raise the stress level. And it goes back, to Ron's question about the ability to play 69 to 71 games is a testament to everybody involved.
You were talking about the stress, though, Greg. I mean, following you on Twitter, it looks like you were trying to find some extra eligibility to join an SEC cross-country team. I mean, that's you're kind of like all of us there, trying to run. I mean, you really logged the miles in the office and outside of the office.
Yeah, and we all did here. I think there's a lot of people here that work the full-time job and then another half to keep it moving, and nobody complained. And that's just an observation of, we've got plenty of things happening in college athletics, as you guys know, and then we're trying to support a season and where we'd spend our time wasn't on the things where we'd normally spend our time. It was on issues related to supporting healthy competition in a pandemic. And so I started a phrase, I think, last week. I panicked on the inside. I didn't want to panic on the outside. I think there were some other circumstances where I watched some panic on the outside across the country. And you better have some ability to manage yourself through that. So I pivoted pretty quickly in March because gyms were closed. I hadn't run in a decade with any intensity. And I said, I'm going to get up and run every morning. And I didn't mean literally every morning, but I think I'm 260 days in consecutively. So it's been almost 2/3 of a year running, or maybe over 2/3 of a year running literally every day, at least 35 minutes. And today I made 6 miles. And that kind of set me up for, physically to take care of myself, but also mentally. And then I'd end my day reading books to try to wind down because you go through a day and it's at a high level of intensity and things that you never anticipated coming. I found pretty early on I had to create a way to separate myself at the end of the day from a work day because you have to get your rest and take care of yourself, which is part of being healthy in this environment.
Well, everybody did a great job in the conference office, I can tell you that. And certainly Mark Womack earned his money rescheduling everything for you. So we really appreciate you taking time and coming, stopping in and talking to us. We know you got a busy bowl season ahead still. Even though a few teams are out, you still have a lot of bowls left to play. And thanks for stopping in. We appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. We start basketball tomorrow night.
I know.
In conference play.
I'll be there.
So there's a lot going on. I will say this about Mark. I don't know if he liked jigsaw puzzles before. After this experience this fall and maneuvering the schedule, he'll never do a jigsaw puzzle the rest of his life, I'm convinced, because that's what it's been. But we appreciate the fans' patience and the interest, and it's still remarkable we were able to achieve what we can achieve, and we have more work ahead, and we'll get through the bowl season and look at what 2021 looks like, and hopefully we'll all be healthy and back to the exciting college football experiences we all love and enjoy so much.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks again for calling us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right, Greg Sankey, SEC Commissioner. They did a great job. I mean, you looked at other leagues, and obviously what they did changed the mind of the Big Ten. The Big Ten wasn't going to play, and they saw the SEC get them in. And, this is a great job. I know we're probably late for a break. We need a break. Okay, we're going to break. We'll be back with Jimmy Smith of Tiger Details on the other side. Thanks. And give us a call later on if you get a chance.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. Over the years that we've been able to talk about the Baton Rouge General, I've been able to share so many of the different services that they offer as they're expanding healthcare, like the Mako robot for knee replacement surgery, the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital, which is now reopened, the way that the Baton Rouge General has handled the response to COVID-19, reopening the emergency room at Mid-City, all of the express care locations that are doing a remarkable job getting people tested for COVID-19. It's all there for you at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Learn more, find locations, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org for emergency care, the Heart and Vascular Center. They deliver babies at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Maybe you just need to see a primary care physician if you don't have one or aren't happy with yours. The Baton Rouge General. Of course, cancer care as well. And they are exclusively partnered with the Mayo Clinic Care Network. brgeneral.org. Online, brgeneral.org.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4Kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1113.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We're back here on AFR Ron Higgins, TigerRag.com and magazine. Matt Trent of BRZ, and I looked this up, Matt. A former Evansville Otter?
Yes. Yes.
I was digging the cap, kind of.
I was just getting ready to say one of the best all-time minor league baseball logos in the history of baseball. A jacked bicep throbbing otter with a cap on. I implore you to look that up. It is amazing.
I saw the cap right away, and I was like, that mean just to spend some time playing with that team just to get the cap.
Yeah. Don't look up my ERA with the Otters. Just look up the logo.
That's where I brought the cap up. I looked at the ERA.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're joined now by an old friend of mine. I worked for him for about a year. I think he's the best in the biz as far as the inside, the recruiting stuff, and also knowing what's going on with coaching staffs. Jimmy Smith of Tiger Details. How you doing, Jimmy?
Doing well, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Well, if there's somebody who's got the skinny on coaching changes and coordinators and stuff, Jimmy has a pretty good insight to this stuff. I mean, he's got some really good sources and throughout the business. And you put together a pretty good list of possible defensive coordinators, and you did this last week, and a lot of them are still hanging around. So, do you still have any favorite at this point?
I mean, I think my favorite in the doghouse, I think, would have to be Marcus Freeman over at Cincinnati. I think until he withdraws his name from contention, he's got to be a top candidate. He checks so many boxes that LSU's looking for: an aggressive style of coaching, likes to attack up front, runs various fronts. It's a guy that isn't making a ton of money right now at Cincinnati, so they could easily, go in and throw some big numbers at him and possibly pull him away from that school. So I would think that would have to be candidate number one, and until he withdraws his name, it's him and then everyone else. And that would just be my take. I think there's a lot of good candidates out there. I know that a lot of guys have reached out to LSU. LSU's done some exploratory digging on some of these guys and vetting some of these guys. And for Orgeron, I think the key here is finding someone he can mesh with personality-wise. We saw the disaster with Matt Canada play out in front of our eyes. I think Bo Pelini wasn't the right personality fit for this team. And so I think he's going to look for someone that's maybe a little bit more of a player's coach, someone that is relatable with these guys. So generally that would make you think you're going to look on the younger side of these coaches. I don't know if you're going to see a Bo Pelini type, Will Muschamp type come in and fill this role. I think they're going to go a little younger here on the defensive side of the ball.
Jimmy, Matt Trent here. When you were talking about personality, when you speak on that, the number one name that's come up with this is Derek Mason.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody likes Derek Mason, but I think everybody likes Derek Mason's personality. Is Derek Mason too nice to be this defensive coordinator? And I know that sounds crazy. Is he too nice of an individual to come in after Bo Pelini, who was very old school and kind of abrasive, to be the defensive coordinator at LSU?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Good point. That's really two opposite ends of the spectrum. Pelini, the yeller, the screamer, the old school coach that'll run you until your feet bleed, and then you've got someone like Derek Mason, who's a player's coach everyone loves, always smiling, happy-go-lucky type guy. I mean, you couldn't have a bigger contrast in styles. But I kind of think this team needs that right now. I think it would be a shock, but it would bring it back, almost like shocking a swimming pool. It might get rough for a couple of days, but then a couple of days later, it's crystal clear, and everybody can take the dive. So I think, I think it would be quite the difference if you were to make that type of leap personality-wise. But I do think it's one they need to make. Now, I would say Derek Mason, great personality, proved to be a good assistant coach. I'm not sure he's as elite of a defensive coordinator as everybody thinks. I don't think he's got the proven track record on that side of the ball to say I'm one of the top defensive coordinators. But at the same time, he's one that could really bring the unit together. And I feel like the divided locker room this year played a big role in this team's struggles on the field.
But what do you think with a guy like Derek Mason? Do you get Stanford Derek Mason if you bring him in, or do you get Vanderbilt Derek Mason? Because those are two totally different individuals from a coaching standpoint and from a statistics record standpoint. Which one do we get?
Yeah, I think you would probably be closer to the Stanford just based on the talent he has to work with. When he was at Stanford, they had one of the better defenses in the conference, but they also were pretty talented on that side of the ball. They had some good players, some guys that played in the NFL. At Vanderbilt, I mean, he was really up against it. They didn't have near the level of talent as his peers, and so, I mean, he was out there scraping, just trying to find a W any which way. with not many Joes and all X's and O's, and you really need a balance of the two to be a great coach. So I think you would probably more likely get the Stanford Derek Mason just because of the level of talent in Baton Rouge.
You know, I mean, as far as a personality standpoint, that's why, I mean, Aranda was such a good fit for this team, because when you watched him in practice, the 10 minutes we saw, he was like the linebacker whisperer. He was explain things very calmly and just a real teacher. I know it sounds crazy, but, you know, the game has changed from a decade ago or 15 years ago where you could do a lot of screaming. That doesn't work now. I mean, you see these kids, you know that, don't you?
Yeah, and it's quite different, and I think it's a societal thing, right? I think our households are different. Kids aren't disciplined the same way today as they were 10, 20 years ago. I think the way kids are disciplined at school is different. So you can't expect an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid who hasn't had people yelling in his face his whole life to all of a sudden adjust and accept that as a positive means of development and building a relationship. I think there's just a conflict there with a lot of these coaching styles and the kids of today. And I think it's a societal issue as a whole. We're really seeing it play out in this generation. But yeah, I think a lot of schools, coaches are taking note of this and taking this into account when they're making hires moving forward. It no longer are the days of rah, let me just yell in your face and expect you to take it in and listen to me. I mean, not many 18, 19, 20-year-old kids can respond to that. And so that's where I think someone like Bo Pelini really struggled getting the team to buy into him and his system this year, just because of that communication gap and their inability to connect on a one-on-one basis.
Jimmy, with whoever LSU goes with, whether it's Freeman, Derek Mason, someone outside of those two, where's the bar set? Because I don't think there has been a defensive coordinator that's come in, or a coordinator coach in general that's come into a high-profile program like LSU and then yanked from his post after 1 year. There's a ton of grace periods now. There's a ton of let's see what you can do, let's see what you can build. Is there more pressure now because of the job Bo Pelini did and how fast he was axed?
I would think so. For one, it makes it difficult to get your next hire, right? Everybody likes job security. No coach is going to look at that situation and blow it off and not think twice about it. They're going to look at it and say, this is Bo Pelini. He was really successful at LSU in the past. A lot of teams have tried to lure him away as a defensive coordinator over the years, and he was only allotted 10 months in a COVID season. And so I think that would make it difficult moving forward if they showed that type of pattern. And then at this point, too, I mean, these guys, whether you like it or not, whether it's accurate or not, they're more or less scapegoats of sorts, right? Ed Orgeron's whole program had a bad year. Well, there's coaching changes that are being made. He can't take that heat again next year and say, oh, I made mistakes with these hires as well. And then when you go back to the Matt Canada debacle and things of that nature, I really think he needs to hit this one on the head, and I really think they're feeling the pressure, which is why I don't think he'll go too far outside of his comfort zone, which is his coaching tree. To bring someone in that he's not familiar with, that is a brash personality and very vocal, I think would be a risk he wouldn't be willing to take. So if he were to go outside of his tree, I do think it would be someone like a Marcus Freeman, like a Derek Mason, guys that have reputations that are easy to get along with, easy to coach with, things of that nature, instead of bringing someone in that can, create more division and create that gap again with players and coaches.
Well, we haven't had time to get to the offensive guys. We will another time, but I mean, there's a bunch of guys out there. Jeff Grimes at BYU, Phil Longo, Brian Johnson, a USC guy. I mean, within the staff, there's a lot of options, and Ed has to. But put it this way, Ed's got to really vet this one out, because the other ones he's had, some other hires he just hadn't vetted like he should. And honestly, I mean, you hire the wrong guy, the head coach gets fired, and. He's had 3 offensive coordinators in 4.5 years and 2 coordinators in 4.5 years. So he's got to get this one right, or he'll be collecting all the money that they owe him.
Yeah, and wouldn't surprise me if he were to just turn in staff Russ Callaway. That's a name to keep an eye on. That was a guy they really, when they hired Joe Brady, they were looking at Callaway and Brady. And Brady, they really wanted Brady with his RPO structure and everything of that nature. Callaway brings a lot of those dynamics and a lot of those play calling abilities from his time at Samford. And he was the first call they made when it was time to come back to the drawing board. So they know him. They're comfortable with him. The players love him. I've heard he played a significant role in the development of some of these young quarterbacks. So I think that's a guy that could really play out and be a real contender here. And it's not one that would blow everyone away. It's not going to grab headlines. It's not going to be a hire that everyone drools over. But at the same time, it could be a great hire. Nobody was super excited about Joe Brady until they actually saw what that offense looked like. So, I don't know if there are a ton of huge names out there. I'm with you that they have to vet this one hard. He has to get this one right. I'm not sure he's going to go beyond his current staff and appoint Russ Callaway at this point. I think Russ is a real possibility, to at least become a position coach, if not an offensive coordinator or passing game coordinator.
I'll say this, it would fit the budget, put it that way. At this point, it would fit the budget. Hey, Jimmy, thanks for joining us, man. Always good insight. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Take care.
Take care. Jimmy Smith, Tiger Details, and we got a break coming up. We'll be back after this message.
AFR.
If you need dinner plans tonight, Ichiban, always a great option. Essen near Perkins, you know where they are. A little setback from the road. You see the arched entryway, the metal Japanese tree sculpture. It is magnificent. Dine in, carry out, or curbside takeaway. If you're still not ready to eat out at a restaurant, okay, they have curbside takeaway. You place your order online or call ahead. When you pull up, you call the number on the parking spot. They'll bring the order out to you right there. Essen near Perkins, conveniently located in the middle of Baton Rouge. So no matter where you are in Baton Rouge, you can get there quickly. That is Ichiban. And from our friends at Ichiban, their newest concept is Bo-Ru Ramen in Electric Depot on Government Street. This is authentic Japanese ramen. Y'all, don't think about that 50-cent ramen in a bag you used to get when you were in college. Every noodle, handmade at Bo-Ru. The broth takes 30 hours. This is an authentic Japanese experience. Bo-Ru.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Auctioner Health.
Toyotathon is happening right now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Get into a 20 Highlander for $4,600 off MSRP. Come on down to Happy Town for Toyotathon. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
Get an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments.
As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Back here in AFR, Ron Higgins, Tiger Rag, Matt Trent, WBRZ. And really hadn't had a chance to talk since we got right into the show. But this is a daunting task feeling from Moscona because he talks more than any human being I've ever seen. I wake up, there's Matt Moscona in the morning. There's Matt Moscona in the afternoon. I go to bed, there's Matt Moscona at night. There's Matt Moscona drinking. It's unbelievable. And so he needs his time off just to get all the words back. I mean, he's empty on words.
And in the hallway, there's a cardboard cutout of him just staring over us creepily. He's everywhere.
I'm surprised it doesn't talk. Like it has eyes that follow you and doesn't talk.
It does have a mask on.
Yeah.
Just for all you mask people out there, it does have a mask on that says mask up. So even fake cardboard Moscona is practicing COVID protocols.
Well, for y'all who don't know us, but for Matt pitched baseball at University of Richmond, correct?
Yes, Spiders.
Yeah, and then the Evansville Otters, which we talked about. How'd you end up in broadcasting?
Oh my gosh. Well, someone told me that, I kind of knew what I was talking about with sports when I was coming through, and I would do a little bit of post-game stuff and interviews in college, and it was kind of fun, talking sports for a living and getting to show my personality. And I did that and got my first job as an intern at WRIC in Richmond, Virginia, where I went to college. I went there, started there as a sports intern, and then eventually got hired as a news and sports photographer. Then, if you know anything about local television, if you don't like to move, don't get into the business, because you're going to move all around the country and cover all sorts of things throughout your entire career. So I went there. Then I went to Northwest Ohio for a year and a half. Then went to the coast of North Carolina, and then went to the illustrious College Station, Texas, to cover the Texas A&M Aggies for 2.5 years, and that's where I came from, landing here, and have been in Baton Rouge for just over a year and a half.
The Aggies and all their traditions kind of drive you crazy, I would imagine.
Look, when you mentioned that in the break, I said, if you really want to fill 3 hours, we can just talk specifically and only about Texas A&M and the delusion that is the Texas A&M Aggie fan base. But for the sake of my job security, I won't, because that's an interesting rants, plural, that I have about that place.
The only one of the few people I know in College Station, Olin Buchanan, who works for Texas Ags. Olin is a hero among sports writers because Olin was in the movie Varsity Blues.
He was.
He was the guy in the parking lot interviewing Mox, and Mox is only one man. I always tell that every time I see Olin, is Mox only one man?
But the funny thing about that movie is, even though the cameo was so quick, that is Olin. Like, he will pop out in a parking lot in a heartbeat and shove a microphone in your face, and he has waited for numerous football coaches at A&M, just waiting out in the parking lot, ready to pounce.
Anybody who knows me, they know I'm from Baton Rouge. I came back to work here. I left, worked in Memphis for a long time, worked in Mobile for about a year and a half, Jackson, Mississippi, Shreveport, a bunch of different places. But I'm from Baton Rouge. I'm a Baton Rouge High guy. That's not Baton Rouge High Magnet School, Baton Rouge High. That shows you how old I am. But I want to give a shout out, as Moscona would say, to Calica! Calica!
That's pretty good.
Won another state championship.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, Gabe Fertitta's got it going on. His second title, third title in 6 years, 9-2. They played just a brutal schedule and came through the other side, man.
And the thing is the thing about that schedule is it was so brutal, and they had scheduled a brutal schedule beforehand. They had IMG on the schedule before COVID. They had a bunch of other high-profile teams out of state. Then they get into the COVID schedule. Games started getting canceling, and they didn't want to just schedule a cream puff just to get a win. They were scheduling the Acadianas, the Rustons of the world, and won. Played really good football, and that Bird team they beat, undefeated. So Gabe Fertitta never shies away from a challenge, and Catholic always comes out, for the most part, on the good end of a really, really tough game.
I mean, they played Bird, and Bird's a tough school out of Shreveport, and took care of business in the championship game. And you got to look at something. It's a bright future. You got a freshman quarterback. Your starter throws for 222 TDs. Daniel Beal, Trey Benson, the MVP of the game, wide receiver for 4 catches for 140. 78-yard touchdown. Man, you got a lot of young talent. It's like you're going to be hanging around a while.
Daniel Beal is going to be a household name in the state of Louisiana for a long, long time. He came in that Acadiana game after the starting quarterback, Landon O'Connor, got injured. Didn't miss a beat. He looked like he was a seasoned vet, 17, 18 years old, and he's barely 15. Threw the game-winning touchdown pass in that game, and he just really hasn't missed a beat. He is very, very calm beyond his years, and Gabe Fertitta just keeps – there's going to be a ton of talent on the Division I level, high D1 prospects coming out of Catholic. Gabe Fertitta knows how to find them, and he knows how to develop them.
They turned it on in the playoffs. They averaged 42 points a game in the playoffs. And so congrats to them. Congrats to Moscona, wherever you are from. Win the state championship. It's always good when a Baton Rouge team wins. It represents the whole city. That's a good deal. But also talking about, Baton Rouge and me and Baton Rouge, I've been around for a while, probably too long. I've been doing this for 41 years now. And when I started this business, I was 6'5". Now I'm 6'3". It beat you down during the years. But I've had a fun career, working different other places. And I've always been in historical stuff. Like I was about 15 feet from Woody Hayes when he punched out the Clemson linebacker. Yeah, I was working for ABC that night. I had to tell Bear Bryant to get his team off the field in Legion Field before a game. That's another great thing. I had to tell the Southern band director, Dr. Isaac Greggs, he's got to play the national anthem now. And he didn't do that. They actually played a game in Tiger Stadium.
The enforcer, Ron Higgins, is what it sounds like.
So I've always been, I look at old ESPN classic films, and I see me in the background behind a bench like the Georgetown and Villanova. I can spot me behind the Villanova bench. So I've been doing this a while.
But you doing it for so long, and I'm always interested to talk to people that have been doing it so long from the print and TV side. What do you think is the biggest difference from when you started to now? Just journalism in general.
Anything that I said 15 seconds ago is old. Back in the day when everything wasn't as immediate, you could do stuff like I did. Like one night when I worked in Shreveport, and I was working for the afternoon paper, Shreveport captain's pitcher was on the road and threw a no-hitter. I got him on the phone knowing that the morning paper deadline was coming up. I didn't want him to talk to the morning paper, so I talked to him for an hour and a half to keep him to pass the deadline so they wouldn't get the story on talking to him. That's what you do. That's what you used to do.
Because back in the day, didn't you have to, if you were on location or in the field, you had to call your story in to file it, correct?
Yeah,
find a payphone, call it in?
Back, you would, a lot of times you would say, well, if, we've gone through so many things technology-wise with computers. You used to have humongous computers, and then you had like ones that ran off batteries, and then that went to this. But sometimes when everything didn't work, you had to dictate, and people go, what does that mean? I said, you had to write your story and dictate it to somebody other than the phone, and they typed it in. They go, did you actually do that? I said, yeah. Why? Because I had to get the story in. That's the only way it worked.
Was there ever a time when you were dictating a story, and because I'm assuming you dictated it to your editor, right? Was there ever a time where they were just like, Ron, stop. This is terrible.
No, they knew I had to get it in. I had to get it in, and you learn to file stories from all different places. I filed in the back of cabs. I filed on airplanes. I filed in Chick-fil-A parking lots, and I must admit, your love of Chick-fil-A with you on that one.
Yeah.
Should be open Sundays, but we can't do anything about it.
What do you think is, when you look back, what's the craziest story you've covered?
Oh man, there's been a lot of different. I mean, the Olympic bombing was one. I was covering Atlanta. That was one that was like. But honestly, this sounds. I mean, almost anything LSU, because LSU something all hell's breaking loose every year on something. I mean, honestly, it just goes off the rails somewhere every year, and that's the attraction. A lot of people, journalism kids, ask me, why do you still do this? Because I can wake up in the morning, have everything planned, and by noon it's all gone because things blow up, which is why I still like doing this, because things blow up. And with LSU, things blow up. I mean, just this football season, you go from thinking, okay, they're going to be pretty decent, and then they come out in the first game and they wander around, look lost, and then and then they get beat by Missouri, look even worse, and then the USA Today story comes out, and then the NCAA probation stuff comes out, and before you know it, I mean, LSU's throwing themselves on the knife by not going to a bowl, yeah, and it's that kind of thing, and so even with all that in the end, considering all that, you look what it brings back to recruiting. Look at the LSU recruiting class, and it's just ridiculous that they got that good of a class with everything else bad going on.
It really is. It really, and being able to flip guys too, getting a couple guys flipped from other SEC schools to still come to Baton Rouge. But it really has. I think, talking to a lot of people that are in the business, I've met some. It's really 50-50. It's some that have really struggled with COVID, but there are some that have thrived. And for me, it was really easy because you were able to do, since everything was on Zoom, you were able to do a lot of stuff really quickly in a short amount of time, because you could just sit in the comfort of your home, knock out an interview here, wait 10 minutes, do another interview there, and everything was just mass produced like assembly line. But I know everyone didn't have it that easily, and this is obviously probably one of the crazier times in your journalism career now.
Absolutely, and I never thought I'd end up sitting here, taking Moscona's place, and now we have to go pay his bill. We have to pay his bill now. We have to take a break so they can pay his big salary.
If you haven't done it yet, call River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001. I give you this number every day. 752-0001. Punch it in your phone. 752-0001. Do it right now. 752-0001. 752-0001. Man, I hear Moscona talk about the heater tune-up thing all the time. Is it really legitimate? Yes. I do this at my home every year. It's the seasonal maintenance. I was sitting at lunch last week with Matt and Paul over at River City's 1 hour air. They went for a heater safety check at someone's home, and the bottom part of the furnace was starting to get black from where it was being charred. Like, it was a legitimate fire threat. Like, don't let this happen at your house. Don't assume it's okay. It's $97. They'll come out, they'll check your furnace to make sure it's okay, your home central heater. They'll also make it run more efficiently. It'll last longer. It'll save you money. Call River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001. Where they're always on time, or you don't pay.
$14,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford Expedition XLT. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
They are exactly the same.
They're identical. Actually, they're not. House 2 also has antioxidant vitamin C.
Antioxidant?
Then we'll take House 2.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4Kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We're back here in AFR. We're in a 3-minute drill. We've got the three. It's a hurry-up offense. Matt Trent and Ron Higgins here. You know, going back to the coordinator changes and stuff. I always call this, I always call it the Nick Saban effect, because everybody wants to beat Nick. Everybody's hiring people right and left. And in fact, since Nick came to Alabama, there's been 36 head coaching changes in the SEC. Multiple, and 11 of 13 schools, multiple changes. And it's just incredible. In this decade, the end of 2019, 24 head coaches in SEC, head coaches. It's incredible. I mean, and it's kind of picked up every decade since, let's say, 58 when Bear Bryant was hired. But this last decade was just insane. And everybody's trying to beat the man.
I think that's the question. What does Nick Saban have to do to get fired?
No, he's not going to get nothing. I mean, but I know people in Alabama get upset. They lose 2 games and like, oh, this is a terrible year. But until you've been through some really, really bad years. And, once upon a time, Alabama, after Gene Stallings went through this stretch where they weren't very good at all. I mean, it had all kinds of stuff. I mean, it had the coach they hired, Mike Price, who got fired immediately because he was in a strip club or that kind of stuff will get you fired. But I'm looking at all the people that have been hired in the past decade. It's just incredible. And all these changes, Nick has changed coordinators a bunch too. I mean, since he's been there, in 15 seasons, he's had seven offensive coordinators and 5 defensive coordinators. So he's changing stuff too. So everybody's doing this. I know people think it's exclusive to LSU, that there's instability. You're just trying to find the right combination. And we're going to probably talk more about this after the break. And we'll have a lot of good guests in the second hour. Tim Brando will be on and just lead us off, talk about the college football playoff. And that's hour 1 is in the books. Ron Higgins, Matt Trent. Come back.
AFR,
Sports brought to you by Shaw-Bills Tire and Auto Service. So my sister's in town. Do you know that?
Yes, I did.
She lives in Kansas.
She does.
She drove in for Thanksgiving. She, her husband, the 2 kids drove in from Kansas. Husband flew back to Kansas to work. Alicia and the kids stayed till Christmas. Morgan, my brother-in-law, is going to fly back for Christmas, and then they'll all drive back together.
Got it.
You better believe before they get on the road to Kansas with my godchild and my niece, bringing that thing to Shaw-Bills.
Better.
Taking care of that minivan. Tires are going to be adequately pressured, rotated. If we need an oil change, that's getting did. If they need new tires, that's getting did too.
Yep.
Shaw-Bills can do it all. Shaw-Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com to find the location nearest you. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices with 18 locations all around South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at Shaw-Bills.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hello?
What's up, B? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up? Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-11.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Washington is moving on from Dwayne Haskins. The team today released the 23-year-old quarterback and first-round pick in the 2019 draft. Haskins last week caught for a second time violating COVID-19 protocols. He was benched in yesterday's loss. That was likely the final straw for Washington, explains ESPN NFL reporter Kimberly Martin.
He didn't understand everything that was at stake. And here's a team in this division that could make the playoffs still. And he's, not wearing a mask at this birthday party for his girlfriend. He's playing poorly. he's, his demeanor within the huddle, his demeanor behind the scenes.
Kimberly Martin on the Max Kellerman Show. Earlier today, Coach Ron Rivera said if quarterback Alex Smith cannot return for Sunday's NFC East Division deciding game against the Eagles, Taylor Heineke will start. NBA Nets guard Spencer Dinwiddie has a partially torn right ACL. He's expected to miss an extended amount of time. Surgery scheduled for next week. Brooklyn's Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will both rest tonight against Memphis in the second leg of a back-to-back.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
Let's ride.
Welcome back here, AFR, hour number 2, starting things off. Matt Trent, Ron Higgins, pinch hitting for Matt Moscona. I've got to kind of rag Matt Moscona, though. We didn't get custom intro songs.
Yeah, the band can only play so much. He plays the same song. They demand royalties. He ain't gonna pay that.
What if we did get intro songs? What would yours be, Ron?
Well, that's a good question. I haven't thought about that one.
Just you got a favorite song? You got one that just really gets you?
I'm old school. I'm an Eagles guy. I'm so old it's incredible. I mean, my music, like the Foo Fighters. That's about as modern as I get.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a big Foo Fighters guy.
Love the Foos. My son Jack got me into the Foos. I've seen them like 3 or 4 times all over the place. Yeah.
I know you're a big fan because you call them the Foos.
Yeah.
That's like a diehard fan's lingo.
I mean, they're really, really good. Probably one of the best groups I've ever seen in concert. And I've seen a ton of people. I mean, look, I tell people the story. They don't believe it, but people from Baton Rouge understand this. One time I went and saw, back when Redemptor's High was still open, they had a concert there, and the headliner was Herman's Hermits. And there was this, and hold on, and the group that opened up for him was this English group that they came on and they started breaking all their instruments up. The Who played at the Redemptor's High football field in Baton Rouge as an opening act for Herman's Hermits. How about that one?
When was this?
1964, 65, 66.
Wow.
How about that one? So I told you I'm ancient. Yeah, the Who played at a high school football field in Baton Rouge.
So was that, now this is me being classical music, old music illiterate, were they the Who then? Like, were they big then?
Not quite. They were probably just came out with Summertime Blues, which was kind of like one of their first big hits. But I mean, there they were. Their whole shtick in the beginning was they would take at the end of their set, they would take their instruments and destroy them. They just big guitar to pieces. Keith Boone be kicking over drums, and of course, and they did that here in Baton Rouge, and the crowd was like, "What are they doing? They're breaking their drums." But that was their whole shtick back then. But yeah, they actually played it, and old people like me out there will understand this. They really played it at Redemptor's High football field as an opening act. Yeah, yeah.
Was that the only time you saw them in concert?
Yeah, actually it was. And I've seen a lot of different people. But that was the only time. Yeah, the only time I've seen. I never went back and saw them. I've seen a lot of people at different times, but I never saw them again. I mean, obviously a couple of them are still operating as the Who. So, a lot of these groups now. We were talking about this the other day. We're laughing. Again, old man stuff. You go to these concerts in Biloxi, and a lot of them are, of course, oldies, and it's basically everybody there. The lead singer would probably say, "Hey, listen, everybody, stomp your walkers in rhythm." That's the crowd we have there. But that's when you get old, that's who you like. But the Foos, I got to give my son Jackson credit. He got me to the Foo Fighters, and I absolutely love them, man. I just love them.
To show you how eclectic my musical tastes is the 2 concerts that I've ever been to. I went to one in college. The Richmond Coliseum was hosting Young Jeezy and the Street Dreams tour. Okay. Then a couple years later, I went to Huey Lewis and the News.
Wow.
In an outdoor venue.
Yeah, that's
in Richmond. So I'm kind of naturally all over the place, but my musical tastes are even more erratic.
I always remember the people at concerts a lot than the concerts themselves. Like my older son, who's now 36, I think his first concert was Van Halen. Okay, so this is at the Pyramid in Memphis. So we're sitting there, and obviously somebody is smoking some weed coming up from the, and you can smell it. Somebody's definitely into some dope a few rows ahead. And so my son's like, I don't know, he's 8 or 9. He goes, hey dad, what's that smell? I say, he's smoking marijuana, Jack. And Carl. He goes, really? Man, that's illegal. I'm gonna go get somebody and get him out of here. I said, look, I guarantee you, you give him 10 minutes, it'll bother nobody the rest of the show. Okay, I guarantee you. And the rest of the night, he goes, they just sat there and they were just, stoned out of their mind. And he goes, how'd you know that? I said, well, it's the experience of going to these concerts and dealing with people like that. But yeah, it's funny how, there's been some screwy pairings as far as concerts. I know one of the ones in Memphis, they still talk about how I think it was the Monkees or the Monkees opened for Jimi Hendrix or Jimi Hendrix opened for the Monkees, one of the two.
Really?
Yeah, just strange things like that.
I have to feel like Memphis and Baton Rouge / New Orleans pretty similar culturally when it comes to music. Is it pretty?
I'd say Memphis is more advanced than that.
Okay.
Because the whole blues thing and a lot of artists like to go to Memphis and play. One, they have the arena to do it in. Now the FedEx Forum used to be the Pyramid, so they do that. They skip Baton Rouge a lot. And, it used to be back in the 70s and 80s. A lot of people went to the LSU Assembly, the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. If you read my story last month's Tiger Rag, I did a story that this is the 50th year of basketball in the Assembly Center, but in the 70s and 80s, they had a run of concerts there that was unbelievable, and the people used to come there because there was no really big venue between Atlanta and Houston, and this was like the ideal size venue, so you get a ton of great concerts there. But as arenas were built around here, the downtown used to call the Centroplex, now it's Canes. UNO Arena was built, New Orleans Arena was built. They had options, and so Baton Rouge started losing all the shows. So that's why you don't get very many shows in Baton Rouge.
I feel like do people outside of, I just feel like there are no more small venue, medium-sized venue concerts anymore. I feel like that's a lost art. Because when I was in Texas, Texas has got its own country scene, and they've got their own kind of underground Texas country. And you can go walk down the street in Austin, and somebody's playing live music. Very similar to Nashville. You go down Nashville, and it's just bar after bar after venue of someone's in there with a guitar just stringing away. But I feel like now you might get that, but they're maybe not as more publicized, or they're not as, I just feel like the art of going to an actual concert that's not in a football stadium or a huge arena is just lost.
You don't get that much anymore. I mean, but the only thing as intimate as you get are at casinos. I mean, smaller venues, and you have older artists. And a lot of them are still good. I mean, Peter Frampton, I saw him; he was really good. But as far as newer people or people just starting out, you might catch them in a place, and then as they get bigger, you won't ever see them again because they got too big for you. I've seen a bunch of people like that who are, saw them in the very beginning, like Jimmy Buffett or Keith Urban. You see them in the beginning in a small place, and then all of a sudden they just blow up, and they'll never go back to the small place again.
You a Buffett fan?
Yeah, but it's more of the crowd and the lifestyle attitude than the music. The music has got it's hot, blows hot and cold over the years, and it's kind of gotten to the point where it's almost manufactured to fit his empire of money. But when you go to a Buffett concert, most of the time you're going to you'll have a good time, and that's what it's about. it's more than the music. I mean, the music's just a soundtrack to that 2.5-hour party you go through.
You got a Hawaiian shirt that you wear? You got a special one you wear to a Jimmy Buffett concert?
No, I don't go deep that route. I don't go that deep.
You're just casual Ron?
I'm just casual Ron, just kind of chill Ron, just kind of go. But I've been to some concerts that are like, they're easy in my ears. I've been to Metallica, which wasn't easy in my ears.
You've been to a Metallica? You do not strike me as a Metallica person.
I went to Metallica. Yeah, my sons went to Metallica. I went with them. Went to Metallica. Probably the loudest one I've been to. Van Halen was loud, but Metallica was really excessively loud. But
now, when did you go to Metallica? Peak Metallica, like mid 90s?
Yeah, peak Metallica. Yeah, saw them in Memphis, and they they were great. They really were. I mean, I appreciate a lot of different types of music, and I like Metallica, but again, anything recent is it's hard to top the Foo Fighters for a live concert experience. It really is.
So you're not like a Lil Boozy fan?
No, I don't.
That's a Louisiana state, but you're not like.
I know, but what always piques my interest is that a lot of football coaches use rappers to relate to their players.
Sure.
And I just find that so phony. It's just so phony.
But nowadays it's relating. You got to find some way to market and get into that demographic, that millennial demographic,
I understand,
right?
But if you're a kid and you're smart, you'll say, what is this middle-aged old white dude like? What are they into rapping? What does he actually know? It's just don't be funny when you recruit a guy. Just be you. Hey. It's like Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen tries to be hip. Dan Mullen is cousin Eddie, okay? That's who Dan Mullen is, all right? He's the guy in the room who's like one step out of rhythm the whole time.
Yeah.
But
it works, though.
He's the guy that would dance like Elaine on Seinfeld. I mean, that's Dan Mullen. But y'all see Dan Mullen at SEC Media Day saying, I got these new shoes from Adidas, these Yeezys. I'm wearing them.
Well, they're Jordan school now, so he's got Jordan,
Yeah.
he's got retros, he's got all that going on.
It's kind of insane, but it's just it just drives me crazy. But one guy that I know is going to talk to us after this break is Tim Brando from Fox Sports, and what drives him crazy is the college football playoffs. So wait till we get Brando going on this rant after this break. We'll be back in a second.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Brain, did you get your tree? Please tell me you got your tree.
Of course I got my tree.
Oh, finally. Brain finally got his kids a tree. Did you get it at Clegg's?
Clegg's was closed.
Oh, no, Brain. You should have gone earlier. Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Segan Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. If you're a Johnny-come-lately, you can go all Clark Griswold on it and chop one down in your front yard, or you can go to Clegg's Nursery. Pretty picked over, but they have some trees remaining if you're still looking for a Christmas tree. But really what we need to focus on is poinsettias and other Christmas decor. If you want to decorate for that Christmas party at your house or your office, they got poinsettias. They've got indoor-outdoor decor and gift items, y'all. Wind chimes, bird feeders, hummingbird feeders, gift cards for the gardener or the do-it-yourselfer because Clegg's is partnered with True Value Hardware Store. Buy local, shop local. Clegg's Nursery.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hour 2, AFR, Ron Higgins, Matt Trent on a Monday afternoon, filling in for Matt Moscona. And I hope Matt's relaxing, how he's resting that voice.
I'm good. Oh, Moscona.
Yeah, Moscona. Yeah, always resting his voice, not talking to himself, interviewing anybody who walks past him. He needs to save his words up. Save his words. And here's a guy I know who can talk. I've known this guy forever. I always tell Tim Brando I knew him when he had a future. And like me, he knew me when I had a future. Tim Brando, Fox Sports. Timmy B, how are you?
Then you should already know that Moscona is talking to himself just like I always do if I'm not on with you. Okay, so that's just the way we roll, guys like Matt and myself. It's good to be with you, dog, and Matt. Good to be with.
All right, good to be with you. Good to be with you. In case Timmy called me dog. People in Baton Rouge know me by my nickname, Mad Dog. It's a long story, but when he calls me dog, that means he's known me for a long time.
Yeah,
all right. This is easy to get Tim going. It's like lighting a fuse to dynamite. It's like when you ask Dale Brown a question and 45 minutes later you're finished. Okay. Tim Brando, what's wrong with the college football playoff system?
Everything. Literally everything. It's so broken that I've basically just said I'm not going to call it that anymore. I'm just calling it the P5 Invitational. The last straw for me was that final Tuesday night when Gary Barta trotted out there one more time and gave pure pablum to the pure playoff privilege yet again. Poor Reese Davis and that entire ESPN crew, for whom I have tremendous respect, I must tell you, their tongues probably were bleeding from biting them for so long during the the hour that they were on. I can't believe they asked those poor guys to do 4 hours for. I mean, listen, that thing could have been over in 4 minutes on Sunday, okay? And they asked them to do 4 hours up against NFL football. My God, they should have gotten hazard pay for having to do that dribble. You get no response that's not just complete pablum. The lack of transparency is so obvious that it's not just flawed now. It's clearly a fraud, and it's clearly corrupt. And when you have a corrupt process, you simply can't defend it. And when you hear statements like, and legitimate questions are being asked by Reese. Okay, I've been interviewed by a few people. A few columns have been written recently, and it's going to happen because of the business that we're in, Ron. You know that. It's going to come up where someone suggests, well, you work at the competitor and you don't have the college football playoff. And what do you think about what, ESPN is doing? This is not a criticism of the guys that are in my profession that are having to do what they're having to do. And God only knows if you hold the rights to something, there's a premium on the way we as broadcasters have to treat our partners. We have to treat them with tremendous respect. And we have to do that all the time. You don't stay in this business for very long if you're treating your television partners badly. But, I mean, this is a public process that everybody's watching, and Reese asking all the right questions, but he's getting non-answers. And when he asks good follow-ups, he still gets no answer. It's like they just don't answer the questions. And because they can't. There is no defense mechanism for anything that they're doing. I'll give you a case in point. Why is Iowa State ranked with 2 losses ahead of undefeated Cincinnati? And the guy says, Gary Barta of the Iowa athletic director, who, by the way, is a nice man, but, again, he's trying to defend a corrupt system. It's impossible. He says, well, unfortunately for Cincinnati, they didn't get a chance to play. Oh, by the way, Ohio State didn't play either, but nobody passed them. Okay, subtext. All right. But Iowa State, they went out and played Texas, and that was a really good win. Really? That was a really good win. Somebody alert the Texas administration because they were looking for another coach when that game was being played. And, oh, by the way, I don't think this has been a banner year for Texas football, okay? So they will use convenient, nebulous criteria to defend whatever god-awful thing that they do to Group of 5 teams. And that's just a fact. So, but there is no defense, of course, with Ohio State. Well, if Ohio State has 5 wins, but nobody's passing them by when they didn't play on the same weekend Cincinnati didn't play, the answer you get is, well, they really do pass the eye test. Well, the eye test is code for pure playoff privilege. In other words, with that brand name, we're going to prop you up. And Ron, we're talking about a complicit media outside of the rights holders, okay? The Associated Press chose to rank Big Ten teams for 7 weeks when they never hit the field, okay? So don't tell me that that's not influential. It's definitely influential. So we have a complicit media outside of the rights holders of the CFP, and the CFP in and of itself is corrupt, lining their own pockets and continuing to just snub their nose at any team that does tremendous things outside their chosen country club of affluence. I mean, that's really what this thing is. And to see it as anything other than that is just stupid. I mean, there's no response anybody can give me to defend this process other than, well, they're just not. They couldn't play in our league. I don't know. They need to play somebody. Well, they're playing everybody that they can play, and they're beating them, and they're not getting a sniff. And then when somebody says, well, how about that Coastal performance against Liberty? Liberty lost 1 game on a blocked field goal this year. Okay, to NC State, they won every other game. So Coastal's not allowed to maybe not be up for their bowl game, but I guarantee you, if Georgia goes belly up and Florida goes belly up, it'll be because, well, a bunch of guys opted out and they really didn't care because they wanted to be in the playoff. The excuses are already ready-made for the brand names. God forbid any team from outside the P5 has a lapse in their bowl game because it will be held against them for life. It's just a crock, a total crock, and I'm going to continue to shout that damn thing down until they change it.
Tim, Matt Trent here. First off, anytime anyone uses nebulous on air, I get really excited, so I appreciate that. Number two, though, but playing devil's advocate here, couldn't you make the argument that if the committee were to uncorrupt itself and lend itself to the common man of football programs, the Coastals, the Liberties, the ULs of the world, wouldn't that be along the same lines of corruption because they're just going with the sexy pick, the pick that everyone wants? Couldn't you make those same arguments as well?
No, because it's not about sexy picks. It's not about anything other than access. They're calling this a national college football playoff. Matt, it's not. It's not. It's clearly not. 50% of college football is not eligible for this. It's not. The Bowl Championship Series was a hell of a lot more accessible to Boise State. In fact, 2 years running, they missed field goals or they would have played for a championship. That year when they beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta, Colin Kaepernick and Nevada beat them on a missed field goal on a Friday night. I was watching it with my own eyes. Otherwise, Boise State is in the championship that year, okay? So, no, this is about access. This is about a national playoff being a national playoff. Don't tell me that you're national and that it's truly a college football playoff when it's not.
So
when the same teams with the same privilege are the only teams that can ever get in. Okay, I don't care if Alabama and Clemson and Notre Dame and Ohio State win it, or if those four are in rotation and they win it just about every year, that's fine with me. But the other teams should have access to being in that playoff to see if they can get there instead of them. You know, let's let teams west of the Red River have a shot. Okay, let's let teams that play in the group of five and earn the right to be the best of that group to be in, so that we do have a storyline outside the same damn ones that we have year after year. Have you not seen the ratings plummeting? They have plummeted. They have flatlined. Even the numbers of people watching those shows that suggest who's going to be in aren't watching anymore. They're going steadily downward. College football has lost its mojo. And why wouldn't it? When you've got half the country being told not to be concerned, the same teams out of the Sun Belt are going to go every damn season.
Well, both of y'all make valid points. I'll leave you with this. This is the seventh year of this playoff, and there's only been 11 different teams in it.
Yeah, it's done nothing.
Alabama's been
fact,
6 times.
Yeah. And the who's in branding is also absurd. You know, for a company, and I will say this critically of ESPN, because I worked there and they meant a lot to my career, as you well know, Dog. I have the utmost respect for ESPN. They are a branding machine, but this brand is awful. The Who's In brand is a joke. It basically says 4 teams is all that matters, and maybe the 5th or 6th or 7th team that has a shot, we'll discuss them. If you watch daily programming on ESPN and even on for the company I work for at FS1 all season long, do you really hear much college football conversation? No, not at all. I know a lot of people are listening to local radio, and that's wonderful because you give the audience what they want. But if you're watching national TV, there's no buzz for college football anymore. When we had the BCS, there was actual buzz. There is none now. And we've dumbed it down. We got 130 teams playing at the Division I level, and all the talking heads have to discuss is maybe 5 or 6 teams. Is that good for the game? Is that growing the sport? If you ask somebody from outside our country how we went about the process of selecting the 4 teams, and you tried to explain it to them, they would look at you like you were from Baton Rouge and you were in London during the International Cricket Championships. They would be, what the hell are you talking about? This makes no sense whatsoever. None.
Timmy B, thanks for being with us. Thanks for burning down the house, as you always do. Just torched it.
Tim, I want you to be a little bit more honest and put a little bit more emotion into your segments next time, please.
Can you tell COVID has not had an impact on me?
No, you're locked up ready to hit somebody. Okay, Tim. Thanks for being with us. All right, we're going to go to break right now. We'll be back after the break.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, it is the most wonderful time of year. It is college football bowl season, and this has been a disjointed mess of a year, but by golly, they cannot take away bowl season from us, and the best place to watch all of your bowl action is at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus, Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine in or carry out. Watch every single college football bowl game. Oh, by the way, you've also got NFL playoffs creeping upon us. You know where to be. That is at Pluckers. And if you need a great gift for anybody, Pluckers gift cards are an awesome option. It's a great stocking stuffer. It's great for a holiday gift exchange. Look, everybody eats food, so get them a Pluckers gift card. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. It's Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Hello?
What's up, B? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up? Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You may not know about the 4 Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4 kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4 Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4 Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to.
Love telling you about the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana, because for me, going on a half decade now, where they've changed the way that I felt. You know, we came home from the hospital with Drew. That completely zapped me, all the stress and fear and anxiety. That takes a physical toll on you, and it did on me. Simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. Our bodies naturally produce hormones that contribute to the way we feel. And as we age, every human, this happens differently at a different rate. Well, for me, it was accelerated because of a life experience. Could be the same for you. Stress ages us. And hormone replacement therapy has been a huge impact in my life. It's helped me feel younger. It's helped me sleep better at night. It's helped me have motivation to get in the gym. Gotten better results when I do work out. Same can be true for you. Online, theantiagingclinics.com. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. or online at theantiagingclinics.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
And we're back on AFR. Ron Higgins, Matt Trent on a Monday. A Mondayless Moscona.
I'd have new branding there.
Probably so. Just have one for every day of the week he's not here.
Just saying. Could work.
This next guy, I used to work with at the Times-Picayune back when it was with Times-Picayune and NOLA.com, and he's gone to bigger and better things. And I haven't, but it's okay because I like this guy. In fact, when I called him, this was funny. When I called him to do this show, he goes, I think I'm hosting it on Tuesday. Larry Holder, the Saints writer for The Athletic. Are you hosting tomorrow? You're the Tuesday host?
That is the word on the street. I bet if I don't show up, no one else will. So I better make sure I make the drive up from New Orleans up to Baton Rouge and take over y'all's chairs. I mean, hey, look, I got to live up to y'all. So let's see what I can do here.
That is a very, very low bar. Very low bar. So you will not have to work hard. Trust me.
We're down to the last week of the regular season coming up, huh? And the Joe Brady Invitational in Carolina. Is that what we got?
The Joe Brady, Teddy Bridgewater trying to basically save his job invitational. It certainly seems like that, given lose this past weekend. As they lose, they certainly get closer to a new quarterback. And so I'm curious to see. Well, and I'm also wondering, say, if they're the 6th or 7th pick and they're not in love with the quarterback, and maybe Joe Brady calls his old friend Jamar Chase and they take him and bring him to Carolina. So look, there could easily be that connection somewhere along the line.
I like that. Already, talk about the draft and this coming up scenarios. You always work ahead, Holder. Always on the always a forward thinker.
I give it my best shot.
Playoffs are just not far away for this team. Where does this team sit as far as, you feel like their chances going to the playoffs, and as far as taking injuries into consideration and Drew just getting back into rhythm? Where do you see this team? Is it still kind of iffy with them?
Look, I think that they needed a good, thorough win. And even though they gave up 33 points, I still think them just being able to move the football at will. But Thomas Morstead, the only time he touched the field was to hold on field goals. He never punted once. And so I felt like they needed that type of win, because even before the losing streak started, look, they almost lost to Atlanta. I mean, it came down to a Hail Mary, and the Saints let them back in the game. They lose at Philadelphia. Then they lose to the Chiefs. And I wrote after the game, so many people were telling me, wow, I'm encouraged by only a 3-point loss to the Chiefs. And I'm thinking Sean Payton, his head's about to explode, because when's the last time you talked about moral victories with the Saints? That should never be in their vocabulary. So I think they needed a good, thorough win to feel good about themselves going into Week 17. They got that against Minnesota. And also one thing that, even though this Minnesota team isn't the same one that they played last year, or isn't the same one where they lost in the Minneapolis Miracle, I think it felt good, and Marshawn Lattimore even said it after the game, it felt good for them to finally get one on Minnesota. And I feel like the offensive line, they really wanted to get one on Minnesota, because that Vikings defensive line embarrassed them last year, and they took it out on a different group of guys, but they really dominated up front, and that's why Alvin Kamara did what he did.
Larry, I'm watching the game against the Vikings and watching Drew Brees, and he throws for over 300 yards, but I think that you look at the box score, and that's a little deceptive, and I'm looking at him. He's really favoring those ribs. Is he 100% healthy? Are we going to see more of Taysom Hill, even Jameis Winston, as we go into this playoffs, because Brees isn't 100% comfortable yet with those ribs?
Brees is not 100%. And I don't know if he will be this season. I don't know. But I don't think you'll see Jameis Winston at all unless Drew needs to be pulled from the game. And that would only be in a mid-game scenario. If they went to another week and Drew was out, Taysom would start again. So, I do feel like, though, that I assumed we'd see more snaps from Taysom Hill, and it would be less about designed runs and more about maybe him throwing the football a little bit. But that kind of got put aside once Jameis Winston landed on the COVID list, and then he came back. But I feel like the Saints felt like they could just run through the Vikings, so they went with that approach. So I'm curious to see as we move forward, and they might not show it against Carolina. I don't think there's any need to do that there. But if they get to the playoffs and maybe Taysom Hill sees a few more snaps than maybe we assume, and it won't just be running. And I think that's kind of the card that Sean Payton kind of has up his sleeve, that you're able to do that more. And look, I still think Drew Brees gives you the best chance to win. Is it kind of painful sometimes to see him throw the football because there's a lack of zip? Yes. But I also feel like if he gets Michael Thomas back or gets Deontay Harris back, which he should probably get both of those guys back by the time the playoffs come, I think he feels a little bit more secure in throwing the football rather than throwing the football to Emmanuel Sanders and a bunch of practice squad guys, because that's basically what it is right now.
But Larry, Sean Payton has said how much he loves Jameis Winston, how much he's progressed as a man and as a football player since being in New Orleans. And then you saw Taysom Hill come in, and I feel like the fan response was pretty 50-50. We like it because we're winning, but then we don't like it because we know that we're really seeing how one-dimensional he kind of is as a passer. Why is there still an apprehension to just throw Jameis into the fold and go be a quarterback? Because he is the realest and best quarterback between him and Taysom Hill.
I don't think Sean Payton would agree with that assessment, what you're saying. So that's probably part of it. But also, I think he just wants to get an extended look at Taysom Hill. I mean, he's played 4 games as quarterback in the NFL. Jameis Winston's played, 4 seasons? He kind of is who he is until, he can really work with him a little bit more diligently. Maybe if they had an extended offseason, maybe he'd feel more confident with him. But, look, I think he also feels that Taysom has done everything he's ever been asked to do, so he deserves the right to do this. And they won 3 games and lost 1 in Philadelphia. I feel like that was a team loss because the defense came out super flat that day. So I think Sean Payton feels like Taysom has done so much to deserve a shot at this. And I'm curious to see after the season if Jameis comes back. I don't know how many suitors he's going to have because he's really done nothing to improve his stock, and no one was really looking to sign him in the first place. So if Jameis comes back, Taysom's there. If Drew retires, maybe they draft a quarterback. But look, I don't see a scenario unless Drew gets hurt in the middle of a game where Jameis Winston's going to play.
I still think that Jameis has some Tampa DNA in him as far as decision making, and obviously Taysom Hill is a system guy, knows the system, understands the system, runs the system. I mean, I think probably that's the difference right now. As far as Drew right now, Drew is starting to get into that Dennis Quaid territory in any given day. I mean, the warrior. I'm gonna go out there no matter what and play, and he's that way. But I understand Taysom's got to be on standby because no matter how much you're being protected by the most modern flak jacket in history, if you get hit the wrong way, you're done. So I can see Taysom Hill getting a lot of snaps in the playoffs, and because they need to protect Drew as much as they can, Larry.
Right. You're not seeing these when they get to the goal line. Usually you see the Brees leap. He leaps over.
Yeah.
That's got to be out of the playbook. You cannot have that. And anytime they've been in that scenario, they've been able to score, whether it's Taysom running it in or Kamara running it in. So at least they have that. But that play is now out the playbook. You cannot afford to have someone and come crack him in the ribs. Like, you cannot do that. And so, it's really, like I said, I'm curious to see, and I feel like they're holding on to this once they get into the postseason, Taysom playing more at quarterback. And it won't be like they're rotating snaps. It won't be every other snap, but maybe Taysom gets a couple of snaps here or there just to kind of shake things up. And I think Drew understands it and realizes it. And look, they've had some good plays with Taysom in. I mean, like I said, they've won 3 games, and I feel like he looked at times like a pretty good passer. He wasn't. You didn't think he was going to be Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, but he's definitely doing enough to win games. So I'm definitely curious to see how much they change the scope of the offense once they get to the postseason. Once they play in the wild card round, they've got four teams they could face. It could be Tampa, Arizona, Chicago, or who am I missing? Chicago, Arizona, Tampa, and the 4th team, the Rams. And Chicago's played the Saints once, and Tampa's played them twice. So I'm curious how much they change some things up.
Well, listen, this is going to be a good playoffs no matter who they play. And I mean, it was huge for them to get Kamara going in the run game. They're going to need that in the playoffs. You got to get him the ball somehow, whether it's catching the ball or running. But they finally got him going, and they're going to need that these next few weeks. Larry, thanks for joining us, and we're keeping the seat warm just for you for tomorrow.
Both seats.
If I need to take up 2 chairs, I got a problem. Maybe I'll just put my feet on one, prop it up. I just want that big bottle. I see when Matt leaves, they don't have the huge bottle of Sazerac rye. I mean, they need to bring that sucker back out when I'm hosting.
Well, because they know with this group, it'd be empty by the end of the 3 hours.
Exactly.
He has a vat of it in the room. He has a vat of Sazerac rye, by the way, sitting on the side here. Hey, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. And you guys listening can hear me for 3 hours tomorrow on After Further Review. Thanks, guys.
All right. Larry Holder, the Saints writer for The Athletic. Always entertaining. Always entertaining. And we'll be back after this break.
AFR.
Brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. As we head toward 2021, people are going to have New Year's resolutions. Big part of your New Year's resolutions might be getting your financial house in order. A big part of that could very well be Insurance Network of Louisiana. We all have to have insurance. We all budget for it as well. You have your auto insurance, your homeowner's insurance. Remember, I mean, maybe it's a camp or a RV or a bike or something like that. We all have to pay our insurance, and too many of us are overpaying and or underinsured and don't know about it. Like, I was that for many years. I had the same coverage with State Farm that I had when I first started driving. Never knew I needed to increase my coverage because my liability went up. How would I know that? I'm not an insurance expert. Insurance Network of Louisiana shopped, increased my coverage, quadrupled my coverage, and saved me $1,600 a year. Stop overpaying to be underinsured. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450.
Toyotathon is happening right now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Get into a 20 Camry for $297 a month. Come on down to Happy Town for Toyotathon. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
The winner is the dog with antioxidant vitamin C.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Ron Higgins back with Matt Trent on a Monday. We're coming in hours 2 is winding down to the end here. But we also take a look at Tigers in the pros. Mario's got Tigers in the pros today. A lot of outstanding performances toward the end of the season here.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. Find them online at kysbesthemp.com.
That's right, Ron. Like you said, lots of good performances around the NFL. Week 16, Justin Jefferson makes his return to New Orleans for the Vikings on Christmas Day. Jefferson, the New Orleans native, had 6 catches for 85 yards in a loss to the Saints. He did not score a touchdown, so the fans in the Superdome did not get to see a gritty.
You know, the best thing he did all weekend was give his mama a Range Rover. Gave his mama a Range Rover. Best move of the weekend.
Good for DJ Shark. Good for Justin Jefferson, I mean. Devin White led the Buccaneers in tackles as his team crushes the Lions 47-7. That was an ugly game to watch. D. White had 10 stops in that one, all solo tackles. He had 2 tackles for loss. On the other side of the ball for the Bucs, Leonard Fournette had 9 carries for 34 yards. He did score a touchdown as he split carries with Keyshawn Vaughn. Those guys helped Tampa Bay clinch their first playoff spot since 2007.
Fournette's had a really good past 2 weeks, man. I know he's had some rough spots early in the year. Last 2 weeks he scored 3 touchdowns, and it's a short yardage game, but they really need that if they want to advance in the playoffs.
Especially with the injuries to Ronald Jones.
Exactly.
On a more sour note, Saints linebacker Quan Alexander suffered a torn Achilles tendon against the Minnesota Vikings. He is out for the season. Of course, Quan joined the team via trade with the 49ers for Kiko Alexander, also a linebacker. In 7 games with New Orleans, Alexander recorded 27 tackles, 4 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. Tough loss for the Saints, but Alex Anzalone is capable at that position, and he will fill in for Quan Alexander.
Been a tough year for some Tigers. That's the 5th LSU player that suffered a season-ending injury this year, Quan Alexander. Devon Gottschall, Odell Beckham, Joe Burrow, and Andrew Whitworth, all season-ending injuries. Been a tough year for some Tigers.
That's right. And, of course, we have a couple of Tigers in action tonight. Main one being Tre'Davious White. He'll be in action for the Buffalo Bills. White has 42 tackles and 3 interceptions for the Bills this year. And that is Tigers in the Pros, brought to you by Kentucky's Best Hemp.
There's been some fine performances by LSU players this year. The linebackers this year in the pros have been tremendous.
Really have. Quan Alexander has just come in and immediately stepped in without a hitch and been really him and Demario Davis have been unreal for that Saints defense. Also, I want to add with Tigers in the Pros, can someone please pay DJ LeMahieu some money to play baseball for somebody? He's still a free agent. I'm getting really upset about that.
That's unbelievable.
That no way you win a batting crown in 2 different leagues and you're still moneyless, contractless. Makes no sense.
He'll be employed by somebody with a very handsome sum of money soon, I would imagine. He's got a little time. Coming. We're looking forward to a third hour. Got a good third hour coming up. Tony Barnhart's with us, and Andrew Lopez talks some basketball with the Pels, and ESPN writer, so he does a really good job. He'll be with us in the third hour. It's 2 hours in the book, man. Matt, 2 down, 1 to go.
Wish we had that Vada Sazerac right now, get us through that third hour.
All right. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
AFR.
See 2020 beyond 2020. The Williamson Eye Center can make it happen. Dr. Blake Williamson, my goodness, awesome work. He's, I always like to say he's got like the vocal local, so the anesthetic. While you may not have anesthesia, his calming voice and tone and how he talks to you during surgery, it's amazing how it keeps you relaxed. He's such a pro. I got to experience it firsthand. Dr. Blake Williamson performed my LASIK more than 2 years ago. Ready to take your call. Go for that free consultation. If you're on the fence, if you've thought about it, wondered about it, could I be a candidate for LASIK? Should I do it? Yes, yes, yes. Think about how many people in your life you know that tell you, best money I ever spent. Should have done it years ago. It was true then, it's true now. Call the best. Call the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020. 924-2020. No matter your refractive issue, there is a solution at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or online.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4 kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
Hey T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The end of the road for quarterback Dwayne Haskins in D.C. Washington released its 2019 first-round pick today. Haskins was caught twice this season violating COVID-19 protocols. He was benched by Coach Ron Rivera in yesterday's loss. It was a combination of things that led to Haskins' release, explains ESPN's Jeff Saturday.
Ron Rivera's not messing around, man. I mean, listen, when you talk about performance on the field, that's one issue. When you talk about distractions off the field, and then you pair that with the type of performance he put on Sunday, Ron Rivera's just, look, he's going to move on.
Earlier today, Rivera said if quarterback Alex Smith can't play in Sunday's NFC East Division deciding game against the Eagles, Taylor Heineke will start. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray uncertain for Sunday's winner-go-home game against the Rams because of a leg injury, according to his coach, Cliff Kingsbury. NBA, Nets guard Spencer Dinwiddie expected to miss an extended amount of time with a partially torn ACL. Brooklyn, meantime, will rest Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving tonight against Memphis, the second leg of a back-to-back.
Hey, this is Keyshawn Johnson, wishing you a happy and safe holiday season full of good food and family. Thank you for listening to Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin this past year and also in 2021.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
Let's ride.
Back on AFR, the last hour, the 3-hour marathon. I can see why they pay Moscona the big money for talking for 3 straight hours. He's amazing. I don't know how he does it every day, but he does it. But he's not doing it right now. Myself and Matt Trent. Coming up in this hour, Tony Barnhart of SI.com, Mr. College Football, will talk some playoffs with us. Andrew Lopez, ESPN writer for the Pels, will talk some Pels. One thing, Matt, we haven't had a chance to talk about, and it's LSU's basketball opener for the SEC tomorrow night against Texas A&M. And it's kind of a funky time for LSU. They missed 3 games because of COVID. They had one rescheduled. They had to cancel that and rescheduled it. Really didn't look that great against Nichols the other day. Won 86-80. I thought Nichols played his tail off. But you can see that this team isn't where it was like 2 weeks ago when it was kind of getting in a rhythm. And I think Will Wade has talked about that.
This is the deepest team that we've seen from LSU in a while, right? So I think if you're going to have a team like this that's talented from your starting 5 all the way down to your bench 5, this is the year to have it. Guys going out, contact tracing, testing positive. When you can roll in number 10 on the bench and he's just as good as number 2 or 3, I think that helps a lot. Now, on the flip side of that, you're talking about Nichols. You only beat a Southland team who's pretty good, not terrible, kind of in the middle of the road, middle of the pack in the Southland Conference. This is kind of the caveat where these teams are in the same position as LSU, but they come in jacked up just as much as LSU is for playing. You're going to get cancellations, so they know, hey, this could be my only game for another week or 2, so we're going to go ball out, play hard. I saw that box score, and I was like, it's a win's a win. I think that's what you got to say now. A win's a win in the COVID season, and say, let's get out of here with a dub. Cam Thomas, once again, just unreal. I think he was SEC Freshman of the Week again, another 25-point night. I mean, he has been a huge glue guy, and I say that weird for a guy that scores 20-plus a game, but he has been fantastic, and I think that LSU has got a very good problem with a lot of depth that they'll need in this crazy COVID year.
Yeah, I mean, they bring a lot of guys off the bench who've contributed. I think Sharif O'Neal has played well off the bench, rebounding. Josh LeBlanc, who just joined them, gives them a lot of energy. Jalen Cook and Eric Gaines. Cam Thomas, I did a long story on him and talked to his mother, and it's just he has a very old school NBA type game if people don't notice it. And he's real. He has a lot of. He'll be an NBA player because he has a lot of NBA game. What I mean by that, he's smart in the sense that if you see Cam struggle early with his 3-point shot, he's smart enough to go to mid-range and work to get mid-range shot to get his rhythm back, and he gets it back, and then he's going again. And most players don't do that. They just keep jacking threes, and this kid is smart enough he understands that. He understands how to get to the line. You know, the other day he had 29 points, okay? He was 10 of 21. He came out on fire and then kind of missed a lot of open shots. He's got a great step-back jumper. But then he got himself back in rhythm by going to mid-range and went to the foul line and was 7-7. And he's the type of guy that he'll have like 12 points and then 5 minutes later he'll have 22 because it's like when he gets hot, he gets fed. And that's one thing about this team that's really smart is when somebody gets warm, they're getting him the ball, and there's no jealousy at all. This guy, if this guy's scoring, we're getting him the ball until he proves otherwise.
You mentioned that he's far mature beyond his years, and when he starts missing back to back threes, you know, shooters just want to see it go in.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to see it go in to get in that rhythm. And any good shooter will tell you if you're off, try and get to the foul line.
Yeah.
Try and get to the foul line, get your stroke back, see it go in, see it hit the bottom of the cup. And he's good in the sense that he knows that, but he's also skilled enough to get to the lane and score around the cup as well. There's a reason why he's Oak Hill Academy's all-time leading scorer, over 2,000 points, and he was only there for 2 years. And when you're the leading scorer at a prep school with the prestige as Oak Hill, with the likes of Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, Jerry Stackhouse that have come through that place, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and when you watch him play, he has a good sense of a pace of game. He never looks in a hurry. You just don't see him going 9,000 miles an hour and making a bad play. He's always under control, knows when to turn on, when not turn on, and he's been fun to watch. And each of the guys that played last year came back, have improved immensely. Trenton Watford, I mean, just looks great. I mean, his handle on the ball is just so much better than last year.
Mm-hmm.
His 3-point shot is, I mean, you think it's going in every time he shoots it. He's improved that a bunch. Darius Days is slimmer, a lot faster, can beat you off the bounce. And Javonte Smart has learned how to play point guard. It's been fun to watch this time last year. People don't understand how hard it is to go from a shooting guard to a point guard, because the shooting guard, you've always got the green light, always.
You don't have to defer to anybody.
Yeah, and the point guard made that transition. You're trying to figure out, should I shoot him this time? Should I not shoot this time? Is this a good shot for me? Will this ruin our offensive flow? And you start playing games in your head, and then you just self-destruct. And he's finally got a comfort level when he knows when to insert himself into the offense. He knows when to run the offense. He knows what to give his team when they need it. And it's an acquired taste, and it comes over time. And he's figured it out.
I really want the one thing for me, and you touched on it. I want to see Sharif O'Neal. I want to see the Sharif O'Neal that came out of high school, that was the 5-star prospect that Arizona was all on, and then he played sparingly, at UCLA, because I think a lot of his, and I know fans just going through Twitter are kind of sitting there waiting, white knuckling when he's going to be that Sharif O'Neal, 6'10", 225 that can dominate a basketball game. I think when he gets going, and then if Will Wade can throw Josh Gray into the mix, that's 2 6'11", 7-foot dudes that can handle the ball, rebound, and have a really good mid-range game. You throw them in with Darius Days, who's already the Draymond Green prototype guy of LSU basketball, this team is going to be scary good. Scary good.
They've got to do a better job of rebounding. It's probably one of their Achilles right now. I mean, they don't rebound that great, and last year's team actually rebounded better, and I think because last year's team the guards understood they had to rebound too, and I think he's still trying to get that into that all 5 guys have to go to the basket, and it's hard when that happens because you have to have floor balance. If you have 5 guys go to the basket, somebody's got to peel and turn and get back on defense as quick as possible. And that's always the, I guess, the tough part of having 5 guys rebound. You're susceptible to getting run back at you on fast breaks if you have 5 guys to go and rebound. And they've got to figure out some floor balance on that, but they need all 5 guys to rebound. You know, and I've seen different times all 5 guys have rebounded this year, have done a pretty good job of it.
And I think, too, a thing that you don't really know is with Cam Thomas shooting a lot, you're going to get a lot of long rebounds. You're not going to get some that are going to graze off the rim or hit the backboard and fall down within, you know, the paint area. You're going to get a lot of long rebounds. And, you know, they've got some bigger guards. LSU does. Javonte Smart is, 6'1", 6'2", Cam Thomas 6'4", so there should be no reason to be out rebounding on long rebounds, but I'm with you. But again, and then too, you get Brian Penn Johnson back if he comes back with his issues that he's dealing with away from the program. I mean, he's a legit 7-footer, kind of an old school big man that doesn't really have a mid-range game, but it's more of an enforcer down low. I'm like you. I want to see him get out. I think that's the only problem with this team. I think that's the only problem is the rebounding. They shoot it well. They defend it halfway decent.
Yeah, they probably could be a little bit better at defense. I mean, they give up a lot of baseline stuff, and sometimes, I mean, look, adjusting to a 2-3 is a big jump. And you know, I asked Will about it today about the rebounding problems. It's hard to rebound in the zone and block out in the zone. You're looking, you're looking for somebody in open space to block out. It's easier when a man that's your guy. I'm putting my rear out and blocking him. When in zone, you're looking for, you're covering space. You're looking for, I got this guy. And a lot of times guys slip through, like a Nicholls State. I mean, they had a guy named Damian Sears come off the bench and had 20 points off the bench and outscored LSU's bench by himself. But a lot of those, he had 6 offensive boards because it's just hard to block out guys in the zone, and something LSU's still getting used to.
Yeah, that is such a tough transition, especially when you've got guys that, like Darius Days, who are used to having someone on him all the time at both ends, so you get a feel for where everybody is. But when you're out there by yourself, like you said, guarding space, and the ball goes up and you reach around and all you're getting is air, and then you've got to look up and find somebody, and then in the mad scramble, and by the time you get a body on somebody, the ball has come off the rim, somebody's got it, and they're at the other end. I mean, it's a tough transition from a man defense to zone, but again, with anything, takes time, takes reps.
Well, LSU's 5-1, A&M's 5-1. We'll see what happens. It's tomorrow night. I think it's 6 p.m. start, SEC Network, and then that LSU getting to conference play starting tomorrow night. So we'll see what happens. And right now we're going to take a break, and on the other side we'll have Tony Barnhart. We'll be back in just a few moments.
AFR.
Okay, it is the final few days before Christmas. Run to Carriages in Bocage. If you have not yet gotten that gift for the guy on your list, maybe it's a dad or a brother or maybe a husband or a father, whatever it may be, an uncle. If you need that gift, get by Carriages in Bocage. Voted by you the best men's clothier in the Best of 225 awards. They've got the best selection, the best in-house tailor. They have a great selection not only of suits and sport coats and dress shirts and officially licensed LSU gear and quarter zips and pullovers and jackets, but they've also got accessories. They've got footwear. They've got belts and cufflinks, everything. And if you don't know what to get, just get a gift card. It's Carriages in Bocage. And maybe the best part, you don't have to worry about the lines at all the gigantic stores. Carriages in Bocage, locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Take care of Dad this Christmas. Get by Carriages in Bocage or online at carriagesbr.com.
$14,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford Expedition XLT. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Choose your fighter. Dax, 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 Dax. Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Welcome back. I'm not Matt Moscona, but he is a Matt.
True.
I'm a Ron Higgins with TigerRag.com, Tiger Rag Magazine, Matt Trimp, WBRZ. And there's no better person I like to discuss college football with. And until last couple of weeks, I was tied with Tony Barnhart for seeing every SEC championship game in person. And of course, I did not make this last one because I was covering the Bo Pelini Bon Voyage tour in Tiger Stadium. But Tony, my crown is given to you. You're the lone guy who's covered every game.
Well, unfortunately, Ron, I have to share with you that I did not go to the game.
I thought you would go, but you're so close. I'm still tied.
No, we're still tied. No, I have not been to any games this season. I've not traveled. My family requested that, and I honored their wishes. We've got a new grandson in the fold. And one thing you learn at this stage of your life when it comes to grandchildren and making decisions, grandchildren always win. So I watched every minute, and what a game it was. But no, I was not there in person. I'm with you, Ron. Our streaks will be snapped, and nobody's going to touch us.
That's right. Every one of them. I thought about that, but I was covering that game. I said, "Well, I hope Tony's there to carry on the record." But it's okay. I mean, we're tired. We're tired. Obviously, you're not going to be at the playoffs, but I mean, how do you?
Right.
I mean, is Alabama worth that much more than Notre Dame as far as the being a favorite? Like, it was 17-point favorite last time I looked. I mean, is the spread that
wide?
19
and a half.
Yeah,
it's 19 and a half.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's enough points. I really don't. What's interesting, Ron, we were there back in 2012 when Alabama and Notre Dame played for the national championship. It was men versus boys that night. Notre Dame has gotten better, but so's Alabama. And so I just don't think you can cover them. Those wide receivers, that offensive line, Najee Harris, Mac Jones, I do not see this going very well for the Irish.
Yeah, neither do I. You know, we were talking earlier with Matt here. Tony, I mean, the SEC still trying to catch up with Nick Saban. There's been 36 hires of head coaches since he became coach at Alabama, and half the league has had new coaches in the last 2 years. I think 3 this year, 4 last year. 3 for the year coming up in 2021, and 4 in 2020. I mean, I'm saying it's a panic situation, but everybody's trying to figure out what to do to get Nick out the door, and they can't do it.
Well, they can't beat him. I mean, when you sit there and look at what he's done, you know, the worst year he's had since his first season, the worst year he's had, he won 10 games, and it's been like that ever since. And honestly, Ron, what he's doing, you're not supposed to be able to do with the era of 85 scholarships and the way that players are spread around these days. But it's been a remarkable accomplishment, and I don't. Who signed the number 1 signing class on National Signing Day, Ron? Who was that? Did you happen to catch that?
Yeah, I mean, he always comes back with a great class, and you know he adapts. He adapted. I mean, remember when Hugh Freeze first got to Ole Miss, and Lord, Saban was complaining about the hurry up offense. It was going to be dangerous for college football. I mean, somebody's going to get hurt because there's no time to rest. Then he goes out and hires Lane Kiffin and does the same thing. He changed. I mean, he's won national titles under like 4 different coordinators offensively. I mean, it's pretty amazing that he adapts. He understands how to adapt, and after every year he reassesses and really seems to get stronger.
I will never forget a conversation I had with him in his office, and it was before he hired Lane Kiffin. And invariably, when I would talk with him, I would always end the interview with something like, "Okay, what's next?" Because he's always a step or 2 steps ahead of everybody. And then there was a day, and I can't remember if it was the spring or when it was, but we're sitting in the office, and I said, "Okay, what's next?" And he says, "We got to start scoring more points." I went, "Really?" He said, "Yep. The offensive rules are set up. I've said what I'm going to say about that." So he had made the decision, look, I don't want to play this way, but if we're going to play this way, guess what? I'm going to do it better than anybody else. And that's exactly what he's done. You know, when Nick Saban hired Lane Kiffin, that was a seismic shift. It was almost like Spurrier coming to Florida in 1990. It was a seismic shift in the way football is played in the Southeastern Conference.
You know, and all of a sudden, head coaches understood, you know what, it's okay. We may not like it really, but it's okay to win 52-28. Okay?
Sure.
We understand it. We get that, okay? Yeah, it's not old school SEC football that, you know, the defenses hold people to a touchdown or 10 points. You get me? But you know, when you run a lot of plays in a hurry, the ball goes over quicker, and other teams got a shot to score quicker too. It's like everything's speeded up, and it's pretty amazing watching games these days, the amount of scoring. And old school people may not like it, but that's football today, man.
Well, that's the way. Listen, and it helps when you're recruiting quarterbacks and wide receivers and offensive linemen who need to learn how to pass block to play in the NFL. He has taken it and used it to his advantage. I mean, this year is amazing. I mean, think about it. They lose Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy, 2 first-round top 5 or 6 draft choices, and they come back and they haven't missed a beat. Then they lose Jalen Waddle, who's supposed to be their number 1 receiver, and Devontae Smith steps up and goes, "Hey, guys, I got this." And now the guy might win the Heisman Trophy. It's an amazing story.
Tony, Matt, Trent here. Ron and I were actually talking about this in the break, and this is kind of an off-topic and not very serious question. What does Nick Saban have to do to get fired from Alabama? Like hypothetical situation, anything outside of, you know, capital murder.
Nothing. I was going to say nothing related to football. Okay, it would have to be some serious transgression.
Nick would say, "I don't deal in hypotheticals."
That's right.
I don't deal in hypotheticals.
Well, you know, Nick Saban is one of those guys that is probably not as great as he is, and he's the greatest college football coach of all time, as far as I'm concerned. As great as he is and has been, we won't fully appreciate the magnitude of what he's done until he's gone from the scene as a college coach. And we'll look back on this 14, 15-year run and say, this is unbelievable.
Is this going to be one of those? Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's one of those deals where, you go back and it's just absolutely amazing that almost every game they played for a 13, 14-year stretch had national championship implications. And it's been incredible.
I also feel like he is going to be that guy where you walk into, a convenience store and you see like an 80-year-old man working. He's been retired, but he's got to do something to keep the brain sharp and stuff. Like Alabama is going to have to force him out of Tuscaloosa. Like he's not retiring. As much as he says, I've got, 5 whatever years left, they are going to literally have to shove him out of the athletic offices there at Alabama.
If I'm the University of Alabama, when Nick Saban says I'm done coaching and I'm going to figure out what to do next, first of all, the TV networks will be lined up around the block to get him because he does it during the national championship when he's not in it. He's pretty good at it. That's number one. Number two, if I was the University of Alabama, I would give him an office and a staff and coach. All we want you to do is be our spokesman, show up for fundraisers, take people out to play golf, kind of like Coach Spurrier, be an ambassador. And I would want to keep him in the program if I could, if you could talk him into it.
Except Nick doesn't care if he loses at golf. Spurrier still does.
Yeah.
You got that right.
He'll remember your golf score 10 years later. Yeah, I remember playing you. I shot 4 under.
But don't you think too? But don't you think too that? And Tony, this is a question for you as well. But don't you think kind of we're wasting Nick Saban on football? Like I kind of want to get his thoughts on something else because football is so easy for him. It's not a challenge. I kind of want him retire and go into foreign policy or something else where he's actually gonna have to have a challenge.
Can you imagine how many Fortune 500 companies would love to have him on their board of directors?
Oh gosh.
Okay, that would be absolute. Well, the thing that I keep thinking about is he has said publicly that college football needs an overall commissioner, and I said, you're right. You do need an overall commissioner, Coach Saban, and it needs to be you. Okay.
I mean, he's one of the few guys you can talk to about college football issues, and he's well versed on it. He gives you detailed answers, and he understands the impact. I mean, more than any other coach that I know. You ask other coaches, they're just so into their game plan or into their team or whatever. And he's one of the few coaches when you ask a question of him on anything, he gives you a complete, coherent answer with really good detail. And yes, he'd be a great commissioner. He really would. And you can be his co-commissioner, Tony.
Oh my! I was sitting in his office one time, and the discussion came up. One of the things he learned in his conversations with Belichick, which are legendary, is you recruit to your system and you recruit prototypes of players. Okay, your nose tackle looks like this. Your outside linebacker looks like this, weighs this much. And I said, is that true? Do you recruit prototypes? And he got up on his whiteboard and started filling out the positions. Okay, this guy, this outside line, he needs to be 6'2", 6'3", weigh this. He had it all, and he laid it all out. Talk about giving me an answer. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's him. I mean, every position has a certain height and weight requirement. Try to recruit to it. Tony, listen, hey, thanks for checking in with us. We really appreciate it. I'm glad I'm still tied with you in the SEC championship game, but I'm glad you're safe and sound, and we're trying to keep safe and sound here. And you have a good day.
All right, you guys. Happy New Year.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Tony Barnhart, SI.com, Mr. College Football. And on the other side of the break, we'll come back with Andrew Lopez, the ESPN Pels writer. And we're going to the break right now.
AFR.
Look up at your roof, man. Does it look gross? When was the last time you had your roof inspected? High wind, heavy rain, hail, sleet, snow, maybe even. Probably not snow, unless that was the snow from 3 years ago. Premier South Roofing can take care of all of your roofing issues. If it's roof repairs, roof replacements, gutters, awnings, metal, slate, tile, they do it all at Premier South Roofing. They are A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, Super Service Award from Angie's List, Torch Award for Ethics in Business. You know how you are going to be treated when you call Premier South Roofing. You know you can trust the company that you are calling when you call Premier South Roofing. PremierSouthLA.com. Find them online, PremierSouthLA.com, and they cover so much of South Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, and the North Shore, they can get to you, and they're online at PremierSouthLA.com. See pictures of their work. Learn more about the jobs that they do at Premier South Roofing and PremierSouthLA.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
South Point Volkswagen, on the lot, online, southpointvw.com. Awesome time to go by. You know that. You probably know the best time to buy a vehicle is at the end of the month. The best time to buy a vehicle is at the end of the year, because quotas have to be met, and you got to move inventory, and this is the time if you want to make a deal. At South Point Volkswagen, Sign Then Drive is on. New, certified, pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online. southpointvw.com. Sign Then Drive. 0 down, 0 to it signing, no first month's payment, no security deposit. You basically sign your name and you're driving away in a brand new vehicle. Awesome time right now with the holidays here and Christmas. South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. What's your direction?
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
back on AFR. Ron Higgins, Matt Trent coming down the stretch on this Monday afternoon. We've kind of bounced all over the place from college football, college basketball, Tim Brando rant,
Foo Fighters,
all over the place. We're kind of bouncing like an out-of-control point guard. But to get us back into rhythm here is the always under control Andrew Lopez of ESPN.com, covering the 2-1 Pels so far. How's it going, Andrew?
I'm good. I really thought you were going to go a different way with the out of control point guard and take a shot at Lonzo or somebody, but I'm glad it ended up being that I was under control. I like that.
Well, I'm not. I've never been a big Lonzo fan, and still not. Still not. But you know, when you're 2-1, you really can't judge anything yet. And I love people trying to break down stuff this early in the year. You go on TV and they're breaking down a team. Man, they're just trying to get to know each other at this point.
Yeah, especially when you only had a week and a half of actual training camp because of protocols and everything. I think it was Van Gundy mentioned it to us the other day. I mean, I think today might be the 3-week mark for them in terms of since they've been together this season. I mean, that's ridiculous that, you know, we're trying to figure these teams out. So there's a lot still there. I do think that you can take some takeaways from early on. For instance, I think Brandon Ingram is who he was last year, and I think he's making another jump. He's kind of the bigger surprise. He was just named Western Conference Player of the Week for Week 1. So small things I think you can take, but you're right. You are still trying to figure out who you are at this point.
You know, the Pelicans are in the midst of a rebuild after a tear down, and this happens to a lot of NBA teams. And I covered the Grizzlies in Memphis more than a decade. You know, they're in their third tear down. You know, I mean, they start out with Pau Gasol and Battier, that group, went to 3 playoffs, and then they tore that down and came back with the Mike Conley, Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph group, and went to 7 straight playoffs. And now they're trying to tear it down, and with John Morant. The Pelicans are in the midst of a comeback after tearing it down, and it takes a while.
Yeah, and I think the good thing about the Pels from their perspective is they were able to tear it down when Anthony Davis left and not have to go all the way back to where you're at the top of the lottery for 2-3 years because they hit on a pretty good pick in Zion Williamson. So they were able to kind of position themselves a little bit better for their rebuild. Obviously, you get 3 really good players for you in Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and Josh Hart in that AD trade. Brandon obviously turned into the most improved player, and again, like I said before, is making another jump. Lonzo, for all his detractors, has been steady this year so far, shooting better overall from the field. I think he's close to 50% in these first couple of games. His three-pointer is more consistent because of his him changing the shot, and then Josh Hart's giving you 20, 27, 28 minutes a night off the bench is one of your main guys. So you didn't have to take that much of a step back, and now even though the West is really tough this year as it has been for a while, you have a larger path into the playoffs because of that play-in game. You can finish 10th in the West and still make the playoffs if you win 2 games at the end of the regular season now. So it's a different sort of rebuild in New Orleans, and a lot of that was helped by, like I said, winning the lottery last year.
Andrew, is Lonzo Ball the best playing for your life contract year player in the NBA? I just feel like he's the Gus Malzahn of the NBA. Every year he's on the hot seat. Every year he's playing for a contract. Like how is he viewing this year, and does he look at this as a slight not having an extension already? I know we're 3 games in, but how does he view this year?
He was coming in with something to prove, and I think Lonzo, when you go back to last year, Lonzo's big point was, obviously trying to fix that shot, but for the first time, and again, it was an abbreviated offseason, but for the first time, Lonzo was able to work on his game in the offseason. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't dealing with an injury. When he got to the Pelicans last year, he was dealing with the ankle still, and he wasn't cleared until early to mid-September for work. So the fact that he wasn't cleared until then, he didn't really get to work on anything, and he still was able to make the jumps that he made with Fred Vinson, the Pelicans shooting coach. So he is kind of, I think they were not in the right spot when it came to his contract. I think they were kind of far apart. But I think for the Pels, it's kind of they're taking the same approach as they took with Brandon Ingram last year, where, look, if you're worth the money, we'll pay you the money. Go out and prove it, and I think he's out to do that. And I think with Clutch and Rich Paul as his representation now, they definitely weren't going to take anything that was below value. And then I think some of those contracts that some guys did end up getting right before the deadline, the Luke Kennard 4 years, $64 million one kind of stood out to me as one that, Lonzo's probably going to end up trying to push for probably $20 million. And is he a $20 million a year player? I don't know. And if he can be consistent, I think he could be. But I think that's the gamble that he's taking and the Pels are taking.
But Andrew, anytime you've got someone in your corner like LeVar Ball, a master negotiator, and the only person to have ever beaten Michael Jordan without ever playing him, I mean, you've got to feel good about your chances, right?
I feel better that he has tried to distance himself as much as possible from his dad ever since he got to New Orleans. And I think we saw him maybe 3 times last year. It's, I think, part of the reason he jumped around representation so much, trying to find the right person for him. So, and besides, LeVar can worry about LaMelo right now. He doesn't have to worry about the oldest kid.
Yeah, and two, the other guy that garners so much attention, not just in New Orleans and just in the league as well, Zion. Anytime you go by your first name, you're a huge deal. What? Last year, I really thought that the weight issue was a little bit overblown, and I thought that the correlation to his injuries was a little bit overblown. Is that a big deal this year? He looks to be in decent shape. I mean, is that something the Pels are putting an emphasis on this year?
Yeah, there's a reason. I mean, I think the biggest number you look at, there's only so much you can take away from stats in the first 3 games of the season. I know I put out a tweet earlier with a bunch of stats, and it was basically titled, "Let's freak out about 3 games in the season stats." There's only so much you can take away. However, one of the biggest numbers, and maybe one of the most important numbers for the New Orleans Pelicans in the first 3 games, is Zion Williamson is averaging 35.3 minutes per game. He has played 38 minutes twice. The only reason he didn't reach that, I think, in the other one was because of foul trouble. The fact that he's playing that many minutes is huge. They're working on his conditioning as we speak, in terms of pushing him up. When you go from how he was used last year to how they're using him this year, it's a completely different way. He's playing longer stretches, but he wasn't playing 35 minutes a game last year. He was even when he was healthy, he was topping out at around 32, 33 minutes. So they're trying to push him in. The one way you push somebody into being conditioned is you gotta play through it. You gotta actually go out there and play those minutes. So it's not a concern for him. He loves that it's not a concern for him. Anytime we were talking about restrictions or not having restrictions in the preseason, Zion had the biggest smile on his face and really kind of let it be known. He understood why it was done last year, but he loves not being able to have to think about, 4 minutes, I got to go to the bench, or anything like that. So he's going to continue, I think, to get better with that conditioning as they push him and as he actually plays those minutes in a regular game.
Well, as big as he is, he gives a whole new meaning to load management.
And that was part of the problem last year, I think, when they came back from the bubble. But now he's worked on that. Everything is down. He is looking more like the guy you thought you were getting with that number 1 pick day by day.
Well, Andrew, thanks for the info. Always good to get back with you and talk to you. You've done well, my son.
Thank you. I miss our minivan road trips.
That's Andrew Lopez, ESPN Pels writer. former NOLA.com writer, my comrade in arms, great young talent. And we'll be back after this break with Otterlocks.
AFR.
AFR brought to you by Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place at agent225.com. You know where to find him, agent225.com. Remember, working with Darren James obligates you to nothing. If at any point you're not thrilled with the service that you're receiving, fire Darren and let you out of a contract free and clear. No questions asked. But you won't. There's a reason that Darren James is on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1,000 realtors in America. There's a reason. It's because he gets results. Darren has perfected the systems and the processes to get your home sold faster for more money. If the New Year's resolution is going to be in a new home, get started today and call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Commercial or residential, buying or selling. It's Darren James. And remember,
think real estate, think Darren James.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4Kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
You know, if I had money to bet, and I don't have money to bet because I'm a sports writer, we're always poor. If you're in journalism, you're always poor. But if I had money to bet, this was the guy I would listen to.
Oh,
Otterlocks.
without a doubt.
Jimmy Ott. Otter, what's going on?
Oh, man, happy holidays. We're over at Ivar's getting ready for the show tonight, so we'll be doing it up till game time. So kick off tonight for the Bills and the New England Patriots, and this line has been going from 7 to 7.5, 7.5. They're betting the Bills at 7, 91% of the tickets on the Bills, and then when it goes to 7.5, they're betting New England and betting it back down. So currently it's at 7 and 47, and you guys know the drill on this one. Everybody knows the Patriots have just created a lot of frustration over the years for the Bills. So the Bills did hang on to win. Cam Newton fumbled into a red zone in that 3-point win in Buffalo. Patriots did cover that game, but this time the Bills, they are either the 2 or 3 seed. Kansas City's locked up the number 1 seed, and that's not a whole lot different, especially with no fans if you're playing a conference semifinal. But you just wonder if they kind of line it up to kind of get them and pounce on them and take out some of the frustration and beat them as bad as they can. Key injury for the Patriots. They've had a ton this year with Stephon Gilmore going out, so one of the top corners in all of football. And we all know about Cam Newton's struggles this year, and he has just thrown 5 touchdown passes in 13 games this year. So Josh Allen, just the opposite. And they're on a roll. They have won and covered now 4 in a row. When you cover 4 in a row, usually dealing with an inflated line. So I'm battling on this one. Like the Bills, I think they're going to take a lot of frustration. But then again, this is a high number on the road against a Patriots team that did have success running the ball against them first time. But I'm going to lean on the Bills a little bit tonight. Just recapping the weekend, guys. The Christmas Day from the sports gambling side, it was a chalk fest. Favorites. The NBA, 5 favorites, all covered. The Saints, they were favorites, but they covered. The Buffalo Bulls in their bowl game, they covered. So Christmas was a 7-0 sweep by the favorites. And when it happens, they usually come back and bet a lot more the following day on the favorites. Well, guess what? The NBA on Saturday, the underdogs covered 8 out of 10. In the bowl games, they covered 2 out of 3. In the NFL, they covered 2 out of 3 for a combined 12-4 day after. So, your trends are not my friends, okay? They don't pay the bills. So, but it's just kind of back and forth. Yesterday was kind of a split day with the NFL. Kind of the, favorites and dogs and over-unders were kind of a big wash. But it's a tough one tonight. I mean, that's a big number. That is a high number to lay on the road, even with no fans, with the Bills against the Patriots team, and a divisional game that they know each other. But, man, I think they want to take out some frustration on the Patriots tonight.
I got to ask you this because it just intrigues me. The Bulls this year are so uncertain. The Bulls are just bizarre this year. How do you just bet on any bowl with any kind of certainty this year? Because it's just – you don't know what you're going to get with COVID or who's been practicing, who's not been practicing.
Man, we are wearing out the Twitter. There's no doubt, and it's just like during the regular season, and you treat it. Look, it's not just Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey that are sitting out bowl games. I mean, they got all over, and it started during mid-season, as we know very well. And that's one of the things. For instance, what was the bowl game? Houston. Well, they didn't have a whole lot of opt-outs, but they were not going to be penalized for their grades this year, for this semester at Houston because of the restrictions. But I think some of the football players thought they didn't have to do anything. 18 to 20 players flunked off the game for the bowl game. They were laying 7 points against Hawaii. And Hawaii, the only bowl games they play is on the island. So they actually had a trip involved in this one as well, and they destroyed Houston as a 7-point underdog, 28-14. So, yeah, you're looking at those type of – the Buffalo running back, the little 5'5" running back that had 8 touchdowns against Kent earlier this year, the nation's leading rusher. He opted out, and so they lost an explosive element of their offense. They still won 17-10 in New Mexico. But that's the only. What about that one? New Mexico Bowl in Frisco, Texas. Nothing says 2020 like the New Mexico Bowl in Frisco, Texas. So, but he was out of the game, and they covered at the end, but. No, man, we're really looking at them, and you got to do a lot of work because the Fournettes, the McCaffreys, the Bateman, the wide receiver from Minnesota, even the kid from Buffalo, the leading rusher in the country. Those guys, Chuba Hubbard for tomorrow for Oklahoma State. Those are the high-profile ones, but we're looking at a lot of the other ones. And another cool game, and this was the originally scheduled game, and then Coastal replaced Liberty with BYU in one of the more memorable games this year. But that was a classic on Saturday night. Great game. Hugh Freeze and Coastal Carolina upset Coastal Carolina. So Coastal just misses on their undefeated season this year, 37-34. They won the game outright as a 7-point underdog.
Otter, we appreciate it. Good stuff, man. We'll listen to you when we get off of here. Always good.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a happy holiday. Appreciate it.
All right, and that'll do it for us. Matt Trent, Ron Higgins, thanks for having us. Matt Moscona, we're gypsies in the palace today, as Jimmy Buffett would say. And tomorrow you got more fun from Larry, the Athletic. He's very entertaining. This is Ron Higgins and Matt Trent, and we'll see you again soon.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about our friends over at Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com, 288-8138 or reliefwindows.com. I was so fired up to see this, man. Relief Windows just posted this news on all their social media. They are relocating their headquarters. Upcoming move for Relief Windows. They just bought a giant showroom in Ascension Parish. So they are going to be able to have a much larger showroom than their present one on Pennywood. The bottom line is, man, they've outgrown it. I mean, it's gorgeous what it is, but the way Relief Windows has grown to be the leader in the industry in this city and all of our state, they need it. Really excited about it coming soon. The future home of the corporate office and showroom of Relief Windows there in Ascension Parish. We'll tell you more. It's set to be opened around summer of 2021. Windows, doors, siding, you know where to go. It's Relief Windows. They are just the best. Windows, door, siding.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants.